This is part 4 of this table.
I can imagine the title that you're putting on. Don't tell
The
me.
table for the outdoor table from hell.
You're being kind.
That is too kind.
Okay, I'll shut
actually,
up.
some of this B-roll, this might actually make it to B-roll footage. You never know.
I'll shut up.
Or at the end for the bloopers. I do that every once in a while. All right, so we're back here for the hopefully what's the end of this outdoor pool table. This one that's right here behind me. I think we've got everything done. So David and I are going to get busy. And forgive the audio. David and I are going to get busy getting the slates out here, and hopefully we'll get this table finished up today. All right, David, you ready? Mm-hmm. Let's go muscle some slate. All right, so this table is going to start out just like any other table. I mean, you know, we've already got the legs and the frame leveled out, and we went into his garage and grabbed his slates and brought them out one by one. And as you can see, we've got brand new slate liners on there, which was part 3 of this table series. Got the first slate down, got the second slate down. Now, one thing we didn't do, or haven't done yet, is actually drill the holes for the rail bolts and for the slate screws. So we're going to get onto that very shortly. But for right now, we're just going to go in and put the slates on, get them on there, get them out of the garage, get them onto the table. And make sure that we have the slates in the correct orientation. And as you can see, we actually drew an arch on the slate and marked which side was the street side. So we're walking out towards the street, so the slates need to be on that side. So we got those 2 on. Now we're going to get the third one. So the next thing is we'll get our drill bits and make sure we've got a good paddle bit that's the right size. I think I'm going to walk up here in just a minute. That's our paddle bit, and then we're also going to grab a regular drill bit that's the right size for our screws. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to drill out the holes for the slate screws that hold the slate to the frame. When we go around, we catch all 12 of them. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, we're putting new wood underneath the slates. You know, we've got to be able to get through there to actually attach the slates to the frame. You know, so it just stands to reason we have to go back in and we have to drill the holes out. And there's David off to the side doing what he does best, which is observing what I do and playing on his phone. I can't be too hard on David. He's actually a really good helper. He's been with me for a long time, probably the longest of anybody that's ever worked with me. David's been with me, probably 8 or 9 years now. There we go. So we got all of the slate screw holes drilled out. Now we're going to switch out to our paddle bit. Like I said, we're using a paddle bit that actually has a couple of spikes on the edge. That's to do a nice clean hole on the bottom side. And we'll little speed through this. Now this next hole I'm about to drill right here, right there, too small. So we actually had to drill that from the other direction. But we'll come back to that one. David will do that one. And as you can see, the sweat is just pouring off of me. It's a nice hot summer day out here in New Orleans. And the sweat is just pouring off of me. So David now is going around and he's going to finish out drilling the holes for our rail bolts. You know, now that we've done all of the work on this pool table, it's pretty much going to install, with the exception, a little bit of exception with the type of cloth that we put on here. It's going to install exactly like almost every other home type pool table. There really isn't that much of a difference now. So David's going to switch out and he's going to put a smaller drill bit on, drill right in the center, and give that paddle bit, that spade bit, something to a guide from underneath so he knows where to put the hole. He's going to drill that hole from underneath. And that's the last little bit of work we had to do in modifying these slates and making them right. So once we've got that, we're going to go ahead and line up our slates with the holes that are already in the frames. Go around, double check. We use our scratch awls to make sure that we're hitting the correct holes in there. And basically we're using those scratch awls like drift pins. And once we've got everything lined up, go ahead and get our screws, new slate screws in, which we went with stainless steel. Since this is an outdoor pool table, we went with stainless steel. There is just a little bit more tweaking. We had to put the drill bit back in and do a little bit more tweaking on the holes to get everything to line up. And these are not screws, these are actually bolts or machine type screws, all stainless steel so they won't rust out in the future. And we're just getting all of the nuts attached to it and just, you know, getting them loosely attached. Okay, so if you guys remember on episode 1, the whole reason why we couldn't, you know, do the table to begin with was because of the plywood underneath the slates. If we went to raise the slate, if we went to put our wedges between the plywood and the slate, the plywood itself would flex down, the slate would barely move up. If we went to do the wedges in between the frame and the plywood, essentially what would happen is it would raise 2 slates at a time. And we really need to be able to raise each slate independently without having anything flex underneath. So that's the whole reason why we ended up installing the slate liners on this table to begin with. If you remember, it didn't originally come with slate liners. So now that we've done that, the table will actually level out exactly like any other home type pool table. It really does. It goes together now just like any other type of home pool table. So as you can see there, it's the same technique, except instead of using screws, we're using bolts to bolt the slate down. It's the exact same technique where we're tightening down the bolts to fine-tune the leveling on it. And again, when we're all said and done, the table is within 5/1000ths of an inch, which is more than accurate enough for tournament play. So once we're all done with that, I actually encourage my customer to go around, take my machinist's level, and go around the entire table and check for himself, which oddly enough, my customer, the guy who owns this table, he's an engineer, he's a mechanical engineer, so he appreciated the work that we were actually doing, the amount of effort that we were doing on his table. So I'm going to go up underneath the table, lift it up, and we're going to fine tune it from left to right now, which that was it. So we're getting rid of the bit of paraffin wax that the last guy put on there. We're sanding it off. We're going to sweep off the entire table. And then go ahead and, well, I think my customer comes up right about now and tests out the leveling. Now, for those of you who haven't seen my how to level a pool table video, the level that I'm using there is a Starrett model 9812. They're a little on the expensive side, about $225, $250 or so. But by far one of the best levels you could possibly buy. If you're looking to do pool tables as a profession, that little Starrett level is an absolute must-have. So David's going to stand right in the way of the camera. He's going to upstage us. He's happy. It's level. That table had never been level. From the day that it was first installed, it had never been properly leveled. So again, just like any other pool table out there, we're going to go in and Bondo the seams, sweep them off. And, automotive Bondo works well for cars. It holds up very, very well in exterior applications. And, pool tables are no different. All right, so now it's time for the cloth. roll out one of my least favorite colors, which is black on a table. Not my favorite color to install. And there's the lovely Amy. She came with us on this job because I knew that we were gonna, with all of the modifications that we had done to this table, I knew that there were gonna be runs that needed to be made to the hardware store to get more nuts, bolts, screws, that kind of stuff. And we had already just spent so much time on this table. I wanted it to go as quick as possible, and Amy came with us so that we could do just that, get the table done as fast as possible. Now, the staples that I'm using here are actually stainless steel, again, to keep from having rusted staples. And we're going to line the pockets. While I'm busy doing the pockets on here, David comes back and he cuts all the holes. And again, it's pretty much identical to doing a home type pool table. And in the pockets, David goes around and he's going to color in all of the staples using a black Sharpie, just so that the staples aren't quite as visible against the black. And there's the bedcloth all done. Now for outdoor pool tables, I have said this in plenty of my comments and plenty of responses and comments. The best cloth to use for an outdoor pool table is going to be the Sunbrella, S-U-N-B-R-E-L-L-A. It's a great cloth for outdoor applications. And this is a little trick too. If you find your feather strips are a little bit on the loose side, you can actually add nails in. And on this particular cloth, we had to add a fold underneath on the corner pockets of the rails. We had to add a fold at each one of the corner pockets. The Sunbrella does not stretch like your typical pool table cloth does. You got the wind blowing in the background there, making it really difficult to hold that cloth still. We go in and we clean up the glue, anything else that happens to be in there. Again, adding nails. Now that's on the rubber side of the feather strip. You don't put it on the other side, because if you do well, you'll end up cutting the cloth, and you'll end up cutting the cloth And you'll end up putting a big gouge in the top of your rail. And final rail, get David to come over there and trim it up. And that's going to be about the end of that. After 6 months of working on those rails and working on the table, it's a really good feeling to finally have those rails covered. And doing the last little bit of trimming on it. Now, I lost the footage for the final assembly where we assembled the rails onto the top. I got a little piece of it, but apparently my battery died. We started to do a little bit of it here, and then the battery just died on us, so we got the final shot of it. The customer's really happy with it. So happy and overjoyed after 6 months of working on this table. He had to hug me afterwards. But the table came out very, very nice. And it rolls just as true as you could want. All right, guys, there you have it. That is the final product for the outdoor pool table. As you can see, my customer went around, he checked out the level on the table. Everything looked perfect. That table was actually within 0.005 of an inch over the whole table in any direction. If you remember from video 1, and look, I'm going to leave links down below to part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this table, and you can follow along the journey. If this is the first time you're seeing the video having to do with the outdoor pool table, check out the links down below and you know, watch the whole progress of this, because the problems that I ran into with this table actually could be applied towards other tables as well. I've seen other brands of tables that are built similar, not exactly the same, but similar, and you'll run into the exact same problem with trying to level it. So this is the fix on how to level out the table and really do the table justice and do the table properly. Again, if you remember, the original problems with this table were that, one, it wasn't level. And by the way that the table was designed, it would never be level. Or it would be exceptionally difficult to actually level it out. Number 2, it needed to be recovered. And number 3, well, it needed new rubber on it. So we got all of that taken care of. We got a few other things taken care of. We got the rot taken care of on the one rail. We've got new slate liners installed on the slate. Got it all recovered, new rubber, everything, and the table is perfect now. And look, I know I'm a little bit late getting this video out. We finished the job about 3 months ago. I've just been tied up with other things, and I'm sorry I haven't gotten it out there sooner, but here you go, we got it. The next video that's coming up, we've got an antique pool table that we're going to be working on. Customer is going to be coming in tomorrow morning, and I'm going to ask him if he wouldn't mind being on camera and we can discuss the issues. I can go over the issues that he's got with his rails and the repairs necessary to get those back up to par. This is probably going to be another one of these extended jobs that need to be done over a longer period of time because there's so much repairs that need to be done. Well, because the table has been abused over the last 100 years. It's an antique table. It's a little over 100 years old. And yeah, it's had quite a bit of use and abuse over its life that we're going to take care of. So make sure that you check out that video. Hit the like button. Write me some comments down below. Write me some questions. Tell me your pool table experience. Did you buy a pool table or something like that? Just, let me know what you guys are up to. Did you get a good deal on a pool table recently that you want to share with everybody else? Do you have, this is a good one. I've seen a lot of reaction videos where one professional will look at the reaction or give his reaction to another, either professional or an amateur doing the exact same job. Give me some links to some of those videos down below, and I'd like to see about doing some reaction videos where I react to what I see, and critique what I see the other guy doing. So do that, and like I said, hit the like button down below, hit the subscribe button. The YouTube algorithms, if you don't hit the like button and you don't hit that subscribe button, content like this gets suppressed. So if you want this out there for more people and you want me to help out more people, help me to get that out there by hitting the like and the subscribe button. Anyway, we'll see you guys on the next video, and y'all take care.